All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to today's launch webinar. How is everybody doing? All of the PitchGrounder community, we're super excited to be here live. We've got amazing founding team with us here from Kbee, all the way from San Francisco, joining us in early morning at 6:30 a.m. Good morning, Sai and Sandeep. How are you guys doing today?
Good morning. Doing well. How's everyone doing at PitchGrounds today?
Amazing. So we're on the other side of the world right now, and it's such an amazing thing to be able to connect, from people all over the world and do such incredible product launches like these. And we're always looking forward to, incredible tools. And this one today that we're launching with you guys, it's blown my mind. I love how simple it is, and I cannot wait to get into the details today. So before we kind of get into all of that, guys, today it's all about Kbee. If you guys tuned in last time for the pre-launch discussion that we had, we know that it is one of the most simplest ways to create a knowledge base or a documentation and a collaboration tool on your pre-existing Google Docs, guys. It's as simple as just converting your existing content on your Google Drive into a knowledge base or searchable content, brandable content for your internal or external use. And it's super simple, super robust. And we've got the founding team here. Sai, who's the co-founder and CEO, and Sandeep, the co-founder and the CTO of Kbee. Guys, Sai and Sandeep, can you guys introduce yourselves a little bit and tell us a little bit about who you guys are and what is, what we're looking forward to today?
Yeah, sure. My name's Sai. I'm the CEO of Kbee. We'll get a little bit more into this today, but Kbee really came up as a personal frustration I was feeling. And then happy to introduce my co-founder, Sandeep, as well. Sandeep, take it away.
Yeah, I'm Sandeep, co-founder as well. CTO, me and Sai have been working together for the last, I don't know, 7 years. And this has really kind of just come out of one of the big problems we were facing at our previous startup. And we're kind of happy to share it all with the PitchGround community.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And so I know you guys mentioned to me that you're on a mission to kind of create the easiest knowledge-based tool out there for people to use. And you also say that this is something that's been born out of personal frustration, something that you guys have felt head on, that you've dealt with. Tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us a little bit about what are the pain points that you kind of saw and what led to the inspiration of Kbee and what Kbee exactly is.
All right, I think I was on mute. What I was saying is, so obviously, both Sandeep and I, we live in San Francisco, but over the past almost a decade now, really, the way that we really work ends up following much more closely to a remote team. Over the past few years, we've both had day jobs where we had to travel, and so most of our work would be done on nights and weekends. And what we found is, being a remote first team, the most important thing for us is to be on the same page when it comes to creating content. And when I say content can be anything. It can be blog posts, it can be help center articles, it can be a strategy doc, it can be things, it's anything that we want to put in front of customers, investors, other stakeholders, and stuff that we want to make sure we're both aligned on before we put it out there. And what we found is, for us, the primary place to really collaborate and be on the same page when it comes to making content is always Google Drive. Whether, we use other tools, we always find that despite that, Google Drive becomes the first place for us to really do everything together. It's super easy to use. We both know how to use it, learn something new about it all the time. And I mean, I'm sure everyone, like the hundreds of thousands, even millions of users who've already used it for collaboration can also say it's by far probably the best when it comes to collaborating with others. And what we've really found is, with that, most of our work will start in Docs or Drive, and then we move it somewhere else. And in doing that, things can go wrong, especially when you're manually copy pasting or having to deal with other tools where you can't format your content the way you want. You end up dealing with a lot of compromises. And so for us, we really think, we believe a lot of remote teams probably go through the same kind of workflows, the same frustrations. And really, when you work remote, it's not so much about doing these mundane copy paste things. You really want to be focused on driving value in your role and what you're really responsible for. And so that's really what kind of drove us to come to Kbee. For us, this really started with us being really frustrated with our help center. And what we found was, we'd had one, and I think we talked about this last week. Our first help center was a Google Doc that we published to the web. This worked for a little bit, but as we were growing more customers, adding more features, this didn't work. And so we moved to a help center tool. But even with that, like it worked, but it wasn't built for collaboration in mind. It's not built for remote teams to be able to create content. And so we kept coming back to, you know, having stuff in Drive, everything's there, pictures, all of that. And then we have to move it over to this other platform. And it's just super mundane and it always slipped through the cracks. So one day I just told Sandeep, you know, why are we doing this? Why can't we just publish straight from Google Drive to wherever we want people to go get information? And yeah, like I think what started as a 2-week MVP has quickly snowballed into a full-blown knowledge-based product with a lot of new exciting features we're rolling out. Something we're super excited to actually announce today to PitchGrounders, a new feature that we just launched yesterday. So more to come around that.
Awesome. Super excited to hear about that. And guys, as we dive in now into the product and a little bit more about what you know, what's going to be launching on PitchGround, I want to let you guys all know that we have a super incredible surprise, which you're going to find out in just a few minutes as we kind of get through. I'm going to drop down a little secret that I'm sure is going to blow all of your guys' minds. So make sure you guys stick around for this webinar. And okay, so Sandeep and Sai, I give it off to you. You guys can take us through the product, take us through what it is that you guys are doing here, and how does Kbee going to help change, you know, these companies and all of our teams, and, you know, really empower us to grow.
Yeah, sure. So let me go ahead and share my screen here and we can go ahead and get started. Okay, don't show these tips again. Can you guys see my, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Awesome. So like I said, we are Kbee. If you want to find out more about our landing page, you can check us out at kbee.app. And really, landing page will tell you what we're all about. But I think to really grok what we do and what we're all about, it's best to really just jump into the product and start going through how simple it is to turn pre-existing content into a knowledge base. And so with that in mind, you know, when you go to sign in, obviously, because we work on Drive, you sign in with Google. The first thing we're going to ask you to do is actually create a team. For most PitchGrounders, your team will be your entire company. If you're within 5 to 15 people, for people at larger organizations, your team becomes exactly what you would think your team, right? Whether a specific department, could be sales, marketing, whatever. For the sake of our demo today, I'm just going to make this team PitchGround.
Zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, let me do that here. Cool. All right, so I got that. So I'll go ahead and create my team, and then after that, I'm going to be brought in to create a space. And so the way to really think about a space is that a space is a standalone knowledge base. It's going to have its own URL, its own theme, security settings, and collection of articles that usually follow a specific sort of topic or theme. So for example, you could have a space that's an internal wiki where you're putting in all your standard operating procedures. It could be a place that you direct all new hires to help familiarize themselves with your business as they're onboarding, or a space could be an external help center, something you're sending all your customers to whenever they have product related questions that are kind of transactional and you don't really want to force them to send an email or chat support first to really find what they're looking for. And so I'm going to go ahead and give this space a name here. Give it a domain, select a theme, and then I'm going to upload a logo here as well. And the cool thing is, you know, as you're going through this, all this stuff can be changed later on. It's never permanent or set in stone. But once I've gone ahead and done that, we get to what we like to think is the exciting part. So with Kbee, you have 2 different ways you can create a knowledge base. One is to start from scratch if you don't already have content in Google Drive that you want to turn into a knowledge base. And then the other is, which I think you alluded to earlier, Nihal, is actually converting a pre-existing folder into a searchable space for anyone to use. For the case of our demo today, I'm going to use a pre-existing folder. I actually put something together yesterday. And so what you'll actually see here is in my Drive, I have this folder with this content here ready to go. I'm just going to go ahead and select this folder from Kbee itself. And now Kbee is going through indexing all of that content and starting to build together a knowledge base. And so once it's done that, we're thrown into what's called the space editor. And this is really what the admin view looks like for a space. When you first come in, we ask you to familiarize yourself with 3 simple concepts in Kbee. The first being that about making your articles visible. So by default, when you convert a folder into a knowledge base, none of your articles are visible in the external view to your users. And this is because we know that not all of your content may be production ready right away. Some things may be a work in progress. Some things may need to have a little bit of an update before you publish it out. And so this is a bit of a stopgap or a safety to make sure that you're not pushing things out until they're absolutely ready. The second concept to really consider is the concept of the live view. And so this is the view that your users will see, whether they're internal, like your employees and teammates, or your customers. This will be the link that you share with them and where they will consume your content. And then finally, because we are built on Google Drive, we give you the option to actually view all of your content in Drive. You can edit everything, collaborate in Drive, even create new content in Drive, and Kbee will automatically update and publish that into your knowledge base if the article is already visible. So, if you want, you can create in the space editor. If you don't want to, if you want to just stay in Google Drive and, empower your internal teams to add content to your knowledge base, they don't have to learn any new tools. They're simply using what they already know to actually become what we like to call like a professional citizen of your organization, where they're really taking on ownership and feeling empowered to add to your culture of collaboration and documentation. So with that, what you'll notice here is all of my content is ordered the way it was in the Google Drive folder, but you have the ability to move stuff around. So you can really organize this content the way you want. And then I'm going to go ahead and unhide it or show the articles here. So I'll click the eye. And when I do this and go to the live view, you'll now see that this is what my users will come to, and they can come in and start to click into any of this content. We've published it into an article, so we're not just taking the actual raw docs, sheets, slides, or PDFs and just publishing them onto here. We actually take all of the content, make it look really nice, and then publish it in this kind of format. So like I mentioned, this article was from a Google Doc. This Gantt chart was actually a Google Sheet. We had a UX audit, and that person gave us our audit in a PDF. So just to show that we can handle PDFs. And then finally, our slide deck from our pre-launch webinar last week for folks to check out. All of those we were able to add in here, and then a user can come in and actually start to consume this very much same way they would in Google Drive, but with a little bit more control. They don't have the ability to accidentally delete things, erase things. You don't have to worry about messing with permissions too much. It's super simple. And so, for your customers, this becomes the only place that they really, or your users, I should say, this becomes the place they go to whenever they're looking for information. As an admin, your sort of work will end up in this admin space editor where you can add articles, change themes and settings, and much more. And so, I mentioned with themes and settings, what we have right now is what we call documentation mode, but you can also format Kbee to look more like a traditional help center. And we do that simply by just changing the style to knowledge base. And so when you do that, we remove the sidebar. Your customers will just be able to see the content, start searching for it, and it just looks a little bit less heavy, a little bit less documentation focus. A couple other things to note, we have different themes as well. So if you want to really make your knowledge base match your brand, doesn't matter if it's internal or external, branding is super important, especially for remote teams. You always want to make people feel like they're a part of something. And so you can start to edit the look and feel of your knowledge base as well. We have a few different themes with more coming. One that we're pretty happy about is dark mode, because it's 2021 and you're not really a SaaS company unless you have dark mode. And so, yeah, the whole point here being that we really want our users to be able to personalize their knowledge bases and really have it serve as an extension of their brand so that they don't have to continuously work to build that brand equity. It's doing it on its own for them. Last few things to really note here on the space editor is the ability to actually extend your share settings from Google Drive. So if you have a folder that's shared to a specific domain or group of folks and you turn that into a knowledge base, Kbee respects those permission rules and will actually apply that to your knowledge base itself. You can also change the permissions for the knowledge base directly from Kbee. And so, we have the ability for you to give anyone with a link the ability to view this, but then you can also restrict viewer access down to specific individuals, groups, or domains. It's really depending on how you want to set this up and make this available to your users. So things to note here that we've seen is a lot of folks like to use the groups or persons when they're dealing with third-party partners, whether they're system integrator partners or resellers, affiliates, or if they've got specific folks, like specific executive stakeholders that they only want to show specific information to, they'll end up leveraging some of the access management features that we have to make sure that not everyone can see the content itself. So let me get out of this here. The last thing that I really want to showcase here is how to add a new article to your knowledge base. So it's great if you have content, but we know that everyone will constantly want to add new articles in as well. And so doing that in Kbee is super easy. Just click on add the article, choose what kind of format you want for the content itself. Like I mentioned, we support docs, slides, spreadsheets, forms, and then links to other websites, PDFs, whatever. In the case of our example here, I'm going to go ahead and make a doc. And I'm going to give this a name for PG demo. And really what I want to showcase here is what happens when you create a doc in Google Drive or create something in Google Drive and how Kbee looks at that and then turns it into an article. So the first thing you'll see when you create a new article, we put a little helper text to help people get started. Kbee really looks at the way your articles are formatted based on the tags you're using to then determine how that article is going to be laid out on your article, on the knowledge base itself. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and give this article a title of PG demo. So I'll write this in here. I'm going to change the text tag to title. Go ahead and center this. And then within this article, I'm going to have 3 sections of information. In the first section, I'm just going to have some text. The second section, I'm going to insert a video. And then in the third section, I want to put in a picture. All of these things are super easy to have and publish from Google Doc into Kbee. So to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is create my sections. And I'm going to give these sections a header, the heading 1 tag. And so, like I mentioned, for section 1, I just want to put in some basic text here. So I'm going to put in some lorem ipsum. And within this as well, I want to put a little helper text, like just a little note. So to do that, all I'm going to do is take that text and highlight it, give it a little background color. Now, for the second section, I want to actually put in a video. And so to add a video to your articles, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can add in YouTube videos simply by adding in the link to the doc. If you have self-hosted videos, you can paste in a link to that here as well. And Kbee will actually read this link, recognize that it's a video link, and will put a video into the article when it's published. I'll show you what I'm talking about shortly. The last thing I'm going to put in this section is actually a picture. And in this case, I'll just put in a headshot of Sandeep, so we all can see what he looks like here. And so I've gone ahead and created my example article. And this is what it looks like on the docs. But when I go to Kbee, what you'll notice is Kbee actually takes it a step further and starts to publish all of the information in a really nice formatted way. So I can always edit in that doc itself. Any changes I make once this article is visible to my users will automatically update. So no matter what, this article will always reflect what's been changed in Drive. I don't have to go in and change anything. I don't have to manually update anything. It's kind of seamless. It just works. And so, this is a super basic example of what all you can do in Kbee, but it's really just the tip of the iceberg. We've built out a few different ways for you to put other types of content into your articles. The best way to really showcase that is in our Help Center itself. So the Kbee Help Center, help.kbee.app, completely dog-fooded on Kbee. Every article you're seeing here is a piece of content in Google Drive. And so while I've shown text, I've shown pictures and videos, we can also do things like adding iframes. So if you wanted to add like a map into an article, you wanted to add in something from another website directly into a Help Center article, we make it super easy for you to do that. For PitchGrounders that may be dealing with a developer audience, we give you the ability to share code snippets and code blocks. Again, all you need to do is type it in Google Docs, use the formatting instructions that we've provided in the Help Center, and we will convert that into a code block that any developer can come in, copy these snippets, and then do what they need to with it. And we're always looking at ways to improve this. And a lot of the stuff that we have here has actually been the result of our community constantly giving us feedback on how we can make things better. So one thing I always like to tell folks is, if you do have feedback, you do have something you absolutely think we should build, you can always hit us up at roadmap.kbee.app. That's our public-facing roadmap. We always look there first for inspiration before we start rolling anything out internally. And so all of the content here is great, but I think the most, I would say, powerful part of Kbee is what we do with the content itself. So when you convert a Drive folder into a knowledge base, Kbee goes through and indexes all of your content. We then use Algolia's AI to make this whole space super searchable. So I can go ahead and put in a single keyword like article, and it'll show me all of the relevant content that might have to relate with articles. I could even type in article incorrectly, and it'll still show me the right kind of information. And so this is something that makes it so your team, if you're using it internally, your team's no longer diving through Drive, looking for the most relevant content. Is this doc up to date or not? Is this what I should be going off of? And for your customers, it's super easy. It doesn't matter how tech savvy or unsavvy they are. Whenever they type something in, if you have content around their search queries, we will display it for them. The last thing to note, and this was the feature that I had mentioned, we just pushed out yesterday. So PitchGrounders are actually getting the first public preview of this feature, is our analytics dashboard. So it's cool to be able to have a knowledge base, but a knowledge base is only as valuable as you knowing how it's being used. And so we built the first iteration of our knowledge base, of our analytics dashboard, to show our users how many page views is your knowledge base getting on a specific day. What do your views look like across different articles? And then are your users actually upvoting them or downvoting them? Is this content useful to you or not? Because we released this feature yesterday night, we don't have any thumbs ups or downs on our content yet, because I think this feature has been live for maybe 8 hours for us. But what we're hoping is, using this kind of information, a Kbee admin can really start to decide, what are articles that maybe need some more help? What are some areas in my business that I could help make easier for my customers by streamlining certain processes, or for my users? Really, this is meant to help you figure out how to run a tighter ship, provide a better customer experience, and overall have a better time growing your business. So like I mentioned, with the roadmap, anyone can access it directly from the product. Just go click on your avatar, click on roadmap, and then what you'll see is all of the stuff we have planned, the features that we have in progress, and then what we've completed. And this is always up to date. You can also see what other Kbee users have put in as well. Upvote different features that you think would be valuable to you. And that's really what drives how we prioritize things. Last thing to note is how to get help, or how to reach us if you need anything. So we have 3 different ways that we offer support. The first is by email. So support@kbee.app. We have a private Slack community that we invite members to. And that's usually the fastest way to get a hold of us. Both Sandeep and I are very active on Slack. And it becomes the one place where we can troubleshoot, we can announce things, and we can really jump on a call if someone has a feature request, to really scope out what that looks like, what's the job they're trying to do, and then really estimate how long that takes. Finally, we do have in-app chat. So as you're going through the product, if you need anything, feel free to ping us. Someone will respond. It'll be myself or Sandeep. But yeah, I think of those 3, the best is usually in-app chat or Slack. Email, if people prefer, we can do that as well. And so really, that's it in a nutshell. That's how simple Kbee is. In a matter of minutes, I was able to create a knowledge base. It's super searchable, easy for me to share with my users, whether it's internal or external. I can add in almost any type of content I want, and it automatically updates as I make the changes in Drive. So if I wanted, I don't even have to go to the Kbee dashboard ever to add new content. I can just work in Drive itself, freeing myself from having to learn another tool, freeing myself from forcing my teams to learn another tool, and just making it easier for us to work together.
Absolutely. I got to say, oh my gosh, I think that was probably one of the best presentations or walkthrough I've ever had. Like, you were You were so on point with everything. Like there was not a single, like a single stutter or like a little pause or nothing. Like you just killed it. That was amazing.
Thank
And
you.
even like response has been incredible. People are literally commenting in right now saying, cannot wait. Where is the link to the deal? And guys, the link is coming out. It will be out in just a few minutes. I will let you guys know. But before that, we have a few questions and a surprise. So do you guys want to have the surprise first, or do a few of the questions first?
Let's do a few of the questions first. Let's hype this up a little bit more.
Awesome. So I want to know, we're talking about using this as a knowledge base. Now we're also talking about using it as an internal documentation tool and all that. So how can teams internally collaborate with this? Like, are you able, can multiple people edit the same doc, and how do those changes work? And how can you really use it to really empower your teams internally?
Yeah, so this is something I'm super passionate about, and most of the roles I've been at, the way that I've been able to impact the most change is by having great documentation that I can share with other teams. So to your question about can multiple people work on collaborating on a piece of content, yes, they're already doing that in Drive today. We don't prevent them from doing that with Kbee. The beauty of Kbee is you can do everything that you want in Drive, and just know that the content that you create will end up in a knowledge base in the easiest way possible. So you can continue to comment, suggest, have versions, whatever you want. And only after you're done with that, you can then go ahead and make that visible in your space for your users to see. And so what we've really found this to be useful for internally is when you have teams that need to work together and have some cross-functional processes and are scaling at the same time. So they're adding in new folks. They need their new folks to always know what are the right processes to follow for different situations. And they maybe don't have the time to always spoon feed them the answer. So you can put all of your content in one place. Anyone can then go search it, figure out what they need to do to actually move forward with the workflow itself. And really with the access management, we take it a step further to say, anyone in your organization, anyone within the teams that you're working with. I don't know if, for some larger PitchGround teams, they may have SLAs with other teams on like turnaround times or whatever. So you can really make Kbee the one place where you document all of that. And so that everyone is sort of always on the same page with, what do I do? What's next? There's no like having to tap on someone's shoulder and try to get the right answer, or just sort of, wing it, for lack of a better word.
Absolutely. I love that. And, PitchGround being a remote team as well. And so many of the, companies right now really, really empowering, going remote. And that's kind of the new way of working. The way of using this is just going to be incredible. And it makes it so much easier. I love how it's able to just, pull in actively whatever is on your Google Docs, the videos, everything. So we have a question which has come in. Let me just broadcast it. Okay. Can we hide the platform behind a paywall? And can we integrate it with WordPress or have SSO for our WordPress users? We also have courses for them and don't want to have too many logins.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We've actually had this request once before for being able to put this behind a paywall. At that point, what we really had decided was we wanted other folks to reach out first and ask for that. And so what you can do today is if you have a paywall, you can actually embed your knowledge base, a Kbee knowledge base behind that. It's not done in Kbee itself, but if folks are using like Gumroad, you can put a Gumroad paywall in front of your knowledge base, have them pay first, and then share access to a knowledge base. As far as with WordPress or SSO for WordPress users, that's not something that's available today, something we're happy to look into and scope out further. For us, the biggest thing is we really want to make sure we don't become one of those SaaS tools where it's just full of features and one-offs that people have asked for, but it's not really driving true value. The simplicity with Kbee is it just works. And so we want to make sure that no matter what features we build out, we provide that same type of experience. So if it is WordPress or SSO, we really want to be confident that it'll just work first and it'll work for a wide variety of people before we go out and build something.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think Sai mentioned our embedded mode. You can go check that out right now on our docs. So help.kbee.app and just search for embedded. And we've had people use that behind their own paywall, behind their own SSO. So once your users log into your WordPress, you can like show them the Kbee page. And so it's behind your login, and we don't ever have to like touch your login at all. We just kind of embed it into your own website. So it's very flexible in that way.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And I think that answers the question really well and something really to look forward to as well. I also mentioned, I also remember you guys mentioned last time that Kbee is also SEO optimized for Google. And can you explain a little bit about that process and how that works?
Yeah, Sandeep, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it's we want to make sure that all of our content is super fast for our users. And so that kind of has the side effect and the benefit of also being super fast for Google. And so Google really takes into consideration like how fast your pages load, the metadata tags, the keywords, things like that. And so we want to make that as simple as possible for Kbee users. So we automatically pull the title and keywords from your headers. And so there's no like additional setup. You just set up the right headers in the title, and then we create the meta tags, we create the keywords, and we are creating static copies of your content that's indexable like Google. You just go to your Google Search Console, put in the sitemap, and then boom, your Google will index all of your help center content for your customers and make that available on Google Search. So that's super easy for you. There's no additional setup. It's just plug and play.
Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. And so for some of the people who are saying that there are a few other knowledge-based tools out there, I know we answered this last time as well, but there are other knowledge-based tools out there. They're a little complicated to use. There's obviously a barrier to learning on how to get used to the platform and all that. And I know this really nails the spot when it comes to how easy it is to get on because it's just writing Google Doc. But what really sets you guys apart from that one thing? Can you tell us a little bit more about why people should look to Kbee instead of other knowledge-based tools out there?
Yeah. So what I've found in my career experience is your knowledge base is only as useful as the buy-in is in your organization to be on that platform. And so what this really means is if everyone on your company is on a knowledge-based platform, they're all willing to use the same thing, great. Like, you can use that, you're off to the races. Reality is always a little bit different. Different teams have different appetites for learning new tools. They have different appetites for going through different workflows. And so where we really come in is if you want to give your company a way to have great documentation, really build this culture of collaboration and have knowledge bases that people want to use, you should give them something that meets them with tools they're already familiar with. And that's what Kbee does. We know that teams are already using Google Drive to collaborate today. And so for us, it's a matter of helping you do more with the tools you're already familiar with. There's no sort of ramp up time where your team needs to learn the editing process, learn how they're going to publish articles, learn the rules of engagement of your publishing process. There's none of that. You don't have to log in. There's no extra accounts. It's as simple as creating a Google Doc, formatting it, and that's it. So what we've really found is if you want to have like the easiest way to give someone a knowledge base, you want to set up a knowledge base in as a matter of a few minutes, and you don't want to spend time copy pasting, Kbee is usually the best way to go. Now, if your team is happy with like a complex tool, they're happy with having another login and using different workflows, that's fine as well. What we really are trying to do is build for the lowest common denominator to make sure that everyone can be a citizen professional and add to your culture of documentation.
Absolutely. Awesome. And I think that is a lot of things to look forward to. And definitely adding to the culture of collaboration, which is definitely one of the most required things for remote teams today. And I think we have one more question. Do you have an easy way to enroll a badge of users into the platform using integration, or do we have to enroll users manually for the first time?
So sounds like if you wanted to share a knowledge base with a large group of specific folks, there's a few ways you can actually do that. The easiest way would be to create a Google group with those folks and then just share with that Google group. So you don't have to go in and manually add each person's name in. You can take advantage of Google's access management systems and all the work that they've spent billions of dollars building out, and then apply that within Kbee itself so that you don't have to go in and manually enroll each user to your knowledge base. You can give access at the group level.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that is it. And guys, so we have a super secret announcement for you all that we have been waiting to reveal, and I'm super excited to let you guys know. A little drum roll, but guys, so there we go. Awesome. Thank you for the sound effects. Guys, Kbee is launching today, and it's a freebie, guys. It
Celebrate!
is a freebie. So let us know how excited that you guys are knowing that it is a freebie and it's going to be live at 9, which is in about 20 minutes on PitchGround. So we will share the links across with you guys. We'll put a post up as well, and we'll tag all you guys who have left a few comments with the link. It is going live at 9, and it is a freebie. So guys, it's going to be amazing. And yeah, people are saying amazing. They're so excited. And with that being said, one last question for both of you. What is your absolute favorite thing about Kbee, and how are you guys optimizing it for your performance or for your teams? Like, what are some of your tips or hacks, or how are the best ways that you guys have been using it?
Yeah, so for us, what we've really found is with Kbee, we've been using it for our product documentation, and it's been super easy now to have, Sandeep roll out a feature, and before it even hits production, I can have a Knowledgebase article ready to go. And so by the time our feature hits production, the Knowledgebase article is also there for people to use. There's no like waiting of, okay, now that this is out there, I got to go copy it somewhere else. I write it once, I put the pictures in, and I don't have to worry about it. And I think that, to me, because this was a personal frustration of mine, has been my favorite part. I won't speak for Sandeep, though. I'm sure he has something else.
Oh, definitely. I feel so Sai makes those articles, and then me being the master micromanager, I don't even have to bother him. I just go straight to the Google Doc, make my changes, and like he doesn't even have to like get bothered at all. And so it's super easy. Like if there's something like small that can be changed, it's just click, boom, on the Google Doc. And so that just lowers that barrier so much. In our previous life, we would have to like log into a separate tool, go find this article, like figure out how to make the change, and then like hit the publish button, and it's super confusing. Now it's just, oh, edit the Google Doc, done. I just love that.
Absolutely, I love that as well. I love how how amazing you guys make it sound, and even the collaboration that you both have with each other. I love it. Like it can be felt through the screen, guys, and it's amazing. Thanks. We have another question that's come in. Hey, but I want to have unlimited space in white label. Is it included in this freebie?
Yeah, unfortunately, no, not in the freebie. So in the freebie, PitchGrounders get 3 spaces with 30 articles each. We found for most like smaller teams, 30 articles per space ends up being enough. That gives you enough to really have documentation internally, have stuff to provide externally, and then something in between for your third knowledge base. As far as white labeling goes, obviously you can change the theme and settings of any of the spaces that you want. We don't limit that. But if you're looking for unlimited spaces and white labeling beyond what's in the freebie, you would have to upgrade to our business tier. And I think, one thing to note, is we're constantly rolling out new features. So as PitchGrounders are going onto the website, checking us out, if there's something like this that you'd want, or you think would be, there's a feature that you think would be great in Kbee, add it to our roadmap. We actually had somebody from the pre-launch webinar last week hit us up on the Facebook group, ask for a feature request, and we rolled it out within a day. So we're constantly looking for this kind of feedback. It's really like, I think, and trying to make it as easy as possible for folks to give it to us.
Absolutely. And so going on that, so guys, just really quick, I'm going to run you through what is available in the freebie. So Sai has already mentioned a few, but we've basically got 3 spaces. We've got 30 articles, unlimited viewers, unlimited authors, advanced search, basic analytics, embeddable image and video support, custom domains, and your limit hide from search engines. So
yep.
Yeah, I think that is basically everything you kind of need to get started, and it can definitely everything you need as a company with your spaces and all that. And okay, so we have one more question.
The lifetime deal is it's actually Kbee Pro free for a year. So we have 2 tiers of Kbee. We have Kbee Pro and Kbee Business. Kbee Business has everything unlimited. Kbee Pro comes with 3 spaces. It usually comes at a monthly fee. But for PitchGrounders, they're getting it completely free for a full year. This is almost a $300 value, absolutely free only for PitchGrounders.
Absolutely. Awesome. So I think, guys, if you have any more questions, let us know. We're here to answer all of them, and it's going to go live really soon. So I will share the link with you guys. It's going to be on pitchground.com/deals, and you can check it out. And if you guys want to check out anything more about the Kbee, just head over to kbee.app, and all the information's over there. You can reach out to support anytime, and you can always reach out to us. So I think that covers everything, guys. Super excited. Thank you guys for being so engaged. And again, Sai and Sandeep, thank you for the amazing presentation and being here with us today and launching this incredible tool.
Definitely. Thanks for having us. And thank you, PitchGround. Super excited to work with you all.
Absolutely. We've got one more question, and so I'm just going to take that really quick regarding the LTD. So if we want to upgrade to business hire, is there any discount?
Yeah, so we do offer discounts to nonprofits and educators. If you do think that there's something you absolutely need and there's something in the business here you don't want, reach out to us. I think the stage that we're at right now, we're willing to entertain anything, but with all things, we always need a little bit more context before we can make a full decision. So yeah, send us an email, support@kbee.app, and we're happy to take it from there.
Absolutely. Awesome. I'm just trying to plug in my charger because my laptop's about to die, but there we go. Awesome. Yeah, and I think that's it. We got a lot of comments that have said this is amazing. Thank you so much. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. And Sandeep and Sai, again, it was super early morning for you guys, but the energy, I mean, I don't know how much coffee you guys had, but you guys, it was amazing. Thank you so much. And that is for today. We'll see you guys on the next webinar, guys. Bye-bye.
Have a great one. Bye.